This week's edition of Church Media Design TV is sponsored by the brand new Print Management Solutions. Welcome to another edition of Church Media Design TV, tips, tricks, and how-to for you, the Church Media Designer. I'm your host, Brad Zimmerman, and I am joined by my favorite bobbleheaded friends. You got it right. We got Fred Flintstone, Little Whitey, Colonel Sanders, and of course, Jesus Christ, the Son of the Lord Most High. Well, as you can see, it's been a little while since we've done an episode, and here's a few reasons why. I wanted to let you know what's kind of been going on and why we haven't had any episodes. One of the biggest things is I actually juggle 4 different jobs/responsibilities. I'm the Creative Communications Director for our church, as well as right now I lead worship every other Sunday because we lost our worship leader. So if you're interested in being a worship leader part-time at our church, and want to move to Michigan or are in Michigan, let me know because I'd love to get in touch with you guys. As well as me and my wife lead our middle school ministry, and then on top of all of those things, I do CMD. So there's a lot of different things going on, and when fall hits, it just gets really, really crazy. On top of that, I went to some conferences as well as I took some vacation time that was well needed, as you could tell. I got to go out to Las Vegas and visit my brother and sister-in-law and see my amazingly cute niece and hang out with them, and that was a whole lot of fun. While we were there, we actually got to see Cirque du Soleil's O, which is by far the most amazing show you will ever see. I don't think I'll ever, seriously, I don't think I'll ever see a show that's better than O. It's just a phenomenal, phenomenal show. So if you're ever in Las Vegas, make sure to check that out. Recently, I was just at the Story Conference with my brother-in-law. We worked the resource table there. I met many of you guys there and got to get recharged at that conference and just kind of got to sit and be and just kind of take in, which is always a nice thing. So that was a really encouraging time. And actually, hopefully in a few weeks here, we'll be able to talk to Ben Armet, the head of the Story Conference, and find out more about how that got started and what it's all about, and maybe if you guys should be there next year. So those are some different crazy things, as well as we came out with our Big Current, which is our mini magazine I talked about a few months back. And this is our, semi-regular, this was a 24-page mini magazine, and I actually turned that out in about 4 days, is all that took. So some crazy turnaround times on some different projects and that sort of thing. But we got a great show for you today. It's been a little while since we've gotten stuff, so there's tons of resources, tons of inspiration, and we're talking about creative workflow today, and this comes out of a breakout I did at the Echo Conference. So if my favorite bobbleheaded friends are ready, let's get into it. Well, there's been tons of news lately, but I wanted to give you guys some relevant news for you and your church. And the first one is from Planning Center. Now, Planning Center is a full-service site that helps you plan your weekend services or gatherings and helps organize volunteers and people who are involved with that, and helps kind of disseminate information and help you guys stay in touch with each other. Now, they do this through a bunch of different technologies, through an awesome website and some different tools that convert MP3s and song charts into different keys, as well as they do this with platform-specific applications. So they have an iPhone and an iPad app. They have the Music Stand iPad app, as well as they have a BlackBerry app, and just recently announced is their new Android app. So if you want to check this one out, Planning Center, they have this new app in the App Store. You can view and edit your files, access the People tab, so much more available in that. And this is great for people on your team who have Android phones, or maybe you have an Android phone. Whatever it may be, a great way for all of these people to be able to be using Planning Center. They want to disseminate this to all devices. If you haven't heard about Planning Center, I encourage you to go to their website and find out more. The last one is a brand new service that we're using currently on ChurchMediaDesign.tv's website. And I'm going to do a more thorough review of it and inside look at it in the future, and it is Church Analytics. Now this comes from John Saddington from, he used to actually be at North Point. Now he's the head of the 8-Bit Network, which is Church Crunch, Church Create, Church IT, all of these different sites, as well as the Standard Theme and Milk Engine. And so Church Analytics is real-time web analytics. And it's got tons of awesome features. I'm going to go way more in depth in the future, but I wanted to let you guys know about that one sooner than later so that you guys could check it out. So make sure to check out Church Analytics and Planning Center's new Android app. Well, let's reach into the stockpile and grab some great resources for you and your church. And the first one, slash all of them, well, kind of, almost all of them this week, are about DSLRs. A lot of people are using these great digital cameras to shoot video. And there's a ton of great resources out there for you guys who are doing that. And if you aren't doing it, you should look into it. It's a fairly inexpensive way to get awesome looking video as well as amazing photographs. But there's some issues here and there, and so that's where all these resources come into play. The first one is a free ebook from the nofilmschool.com, and it's the DSLR cinematography guide. Ugh. It's a big mouthful there. And this is a great 100-page PDF ebook guide to how to use your DSLR for cinematography and some of the things that trip people up and some things to watch out for along the way. The next one is from ChurchCreate.com, and this one is 5 tips for workarounds with your DSLR, because there's a lot of issues, like I said, but none of them aren't so bad that you can't overcome them. It's just the fact that you're shooting video with something that's meant to shoot stills. So sometimes the audio is not the best, or sometimes you have some weird issues here and there. So this is a great guide of how to overcome those things. And the last one is some great people to follow. This is also from Church Create, and this is the top 5 DSLR revolutionaries you need to follow. And this is on Twitter and Facebook and websites. And these are awesome places to find out more information. If you're in that DSLR world, I encourage you guys to check out all of these different websites. Now, last but not least is something for everyone, not just those of you out there using a DSLR or thinking about using one. This one's just a great font. Now, it doesn't have necessarily a great name. It's called Demon Breeze. It's on DeviantArt from Westlow 11. And the coolest part about this font is a great designer font, but on top of it, it's got a ton of different faces. So it's got a light, a book, a medium, a demi, and a bold. And so there's all of these different weights of all the characters, so you can really mix and match and make some really cool stuff. So I think this is a great font face for you to check out. So check out Demon Breeze on DeviantArt. Make sure to check out those articles on Church Create, and of course make sure to check out that ebook thanks to our friends over at Churchy Media. Well, before we move on, let's say thank you to our sponsor of Print Management Solutions. You can find out more at their brand new website. Yep, I'm pretty excited about it. I actually helped them out with this site, and it's all done in WordPress, just like the best of them. So you can find out tons of information on the site and find out the solution to all of your print needs, as well as you can find out how they'll save you money or improve your productivity. And they have a blog with tons of great information. Find out about their end-of-year promotions and even customer testimonials of who's used their services and how it's helped them out. Because I'm not the only one using these guys. A ton of people are, and they all love their service. So make sure to check out all those different testimonials. If you want to find out more about how they can help you out with your print needs, head over to their contact page, fill the form out, make sure to put Church Media Design in the promo code form so they can know you found out about them through us. But they want to find the best solution to your print needs, not anyone else, to your print needs. And so maybe you need a certain type of printer, or it all depends on what you're doing with your printer, and they're going to find what's best for you. So make sure to check out printmanagementsolutions.biz. Well, this week we're talking about creative workflow and how to creatively get the job done, and how to not lose your mind along the way, and not get lost in the repetitive tasks or inside software, inside programs, but be creative with all the things you have. Now, this comes out of a talk that I did at the Echo Conference this summer, and I wanted to share this with all of you guys. And the first thing that I always hear and I always talked about in school, all of those things, is pre-production. Pre-production is the most important thing to your creative workflow. Now, pre-production is, sitting down and figuring out what do you want to actually do. Not saying, here's a video, we need it done. That's not pre-production. Pre-production involves some planning. Now, I want to encourage you guys to sit down with a group of people and just talk it through. Talk through what the project's going to look like. Talk through what you want the project to look like. And this could be a creative team, or this may just be your senior leader. If you don't have a creative team, I encourage you to sit down with your senior leader and say, okay, we wanted to do this video, or we want to do this series graphic. Let's talk this through. This is what I'm thinking. What do you think about this? Now, if they refuse to give you that time, you have a problem, and I feel bad for you. But I encourage you to ask them every single time anyway, and this is the reason why. If you do a project and they refuse to meet with you and hear out what the project's gonna look like or what your thoughts are for it, and then they yell at you later or get mad at you later about it, you can go to them and say, I wanted to sit down with you so this wouldn't happen, and I don't want this to happen next time, so the next time we do a video or a series graphic, can we talk about it first so that we don't have these problems? Now, the next step is actually storyboarding, and storyboarding can be done a couple of different ways. You can either just list it out, you can draw it out, or you can be even more creative. But let's say we're doing a video, and we'll use this as an example. We're going to list out all of the shots we need. So maybe we want a wide establishing shot, and then we want to move into a close-up of our person talking, and then we want to cut to some B-roll. And as you start listing out all of these different shots, you're going to realize all of the things that you're going to need. And this is helpful in a lot of different ways. One, it will make you realize, oh, I need this shot that I wouldn't have wanted to shoot or wouldn't have thought to shoot earlier. Or also, it will let you know what to let your actors or your talent or your pastor, whoever you're shooting, how long it's going to take. You'll be able to say, I want to do the whole thing from this angle and then the whole thing again from this other angle, and then I need to shoot this B-roll, and then we can drive the hour back from the location we went to. So, you can do a shot list. The other way is to actually draw it out. This is the traditional way, and you can, grab a moleskin notebook that already has the cells pre-done in it, or you can just grab a piece of paper and just draw all of these different frames and kind of all these different shots that you want to get. The last way is actually to grab your iPhone. There's a couple different iPhone apps that allow you to take photos, and then you can overlay graphics on top of them. So there's two different iPhone apps that you can do. I think it's Storyboard Composer and iStoryboard, I think, are the two different apps that you can use. I'm sure there's more than that, but those are the two that I found. You can do that for storyboarding. And this is, again, really helpful to make sure that you get all the things that you need along the way. The next big key is organization. A lot of times while we're doing projects or even getting ready for a project, we're acquiring lots of different assets, whether it be graphics or images or soundtracks or videos or whatever it may be. And it's really important to stay organized in this process. Now, the way that I do this is through two different hard drives. I have a library hard drive and a documents drive. Now, my library drive is generic items that I'm going to use in all sorts of different projects. So this could be fonts or images or audio or video. And I have folders for all these things. And then inside each folder, I have subfolders that, break it out even more. So for my fonts one, I have serif and sans serif and grunge and handwritten and all these different font types. And then like in my images directory, I might have, all these different types. So I have brick and I have paper and I have skies and all of these different things that I would use on different projects. So you can break things out that way and stay organized. That way, when you're going through your RSS reader and you find some great new textures, or you find some free audio, or maybe some free church resources, you have a place you can put it and find it easily later. I know it sounds simple, but it really helps out a lot. Now, both of these drives are like 1 terabyte hard drives because you never know how much stuff you're going to throw in these different drives. Now, my documents drive is where I actually put all of my project files. So So in here I have a folder for our church, and then I have a folder for all of our series, and inside that series folder I have every single series, and inside the series folder I have all of the stuff for that series, and maybe I have videos and graphics and final graphics and all those kind of things, but it's all broken out so that I know exactly where to look and where to put stuff as I'm doing a project, so I don't end up with this crazy hard drive mess of stuff, and one thing's in a documents drive here and one thing's in a random folder there. It's easy to find everything. And I'm not the most organized person. If you want to find out more about how to be organized in the midst of creativity, I encourage you to check out 2 books. One is called Making Ideas Happen, and the other one's called Rework. I actually got to hear the writer of Rework, Jason Fried, at the Story Conference, and he talked about some really amazing principles that kind of just open up your mind about how, why does a meeting have to last a half an hour? If you're getting sick of doing something, why don't you just take a week off? And like a lot of people are like, well, you can't take a Sunday off. And I'm like, if you can't take a Sunday off because you're worried about not getting a paycheck, you need to rethink what you're doing in the first place. And if you don't agree with that comment, then shoot me an email because I'd love to talk about it more, but that's getting off subject. So anyway, so check out those 2 books if you want to figure out how to be creative in the midst of trying to get stuff done. The last thing is making sure that you automate everything you can. There's a lot of stuff we do on a weekly basis that is exactly the same. Now, we might think that everything changes and every Sunday is different and we're always doing new things. You're not. You're not doing anything new. You can automate a lot of things that stay the same all the time. And some things you may need to make the same all the time. You're always doing songs. You're always doing a teaching segment. You're always doing some sort of announcements. You're always doing these different elements. So how can you automate these things so they don't waste your time? So maybe your announcement video, you need to make a consistent intro and you need to have a consistent exit from it. Maybe you need to make a Photoshop droplet that resizes your images from your announcement slides and throws them on the web for you automatically. Or maybe you need to make some presets inside your video render program to make sure your videos render out correctly, and then maybe they upload them someplace that you can use them later. The other thing that I try to do is videos that are consistent. So we do videos of how God's moving in watermarkers' lives. I use the exact same soundtrack in every single video. And that way, for one, I'm branding those videos, but the other thing is I'm not wasting time trying to find a new soundtrack every single week. And so, some of those things you might say, well, you're not being creative. Well, actually, I'm limiting things that are redundant so that I can be more creative with the things that are actually new. And actually, when I take the time to be creative on this one thing once, I can use it a bunch of times over and over again. Because that's the real point of all of this, is how can we limit the mess of things we do over and over again so when we need to be creative, we have time for it. So those are a few different ways that you can use creative workflow in your church, in your situation. I want to encourage you guys to check out those books as well as the list of resources on the website. You can go to CMD.tv/114 to find out all about those. And upcoming next week, we're going to be talking about how to actually be creative inside the Creative Suite, editing inside Premiere and going to After Effects and using Sound Booth and how those all work together, as well as in another week we're going to talk about how to do multi-camera shoots and how to be creative with all of that stuff. So I'm looking forward to those, so check out those resources and stay tuned. Well, this week's inspiration is from someone I've had the pleasure to get to know over the past few months at conferences and different events, and he is Blaine Hogan, and he is the experience engineer for Willow Creek. He designs the weekend experiences that happen on their main campus, as well as things they do like Leadership Summit and other big events. And this video actually comes from the Leadership Summit, but one other video that I want to encourage you guys to check out. on his blog, he's been doing Happy Friday dances that we actually show to kick off every week of our youth ministry motto, and our students find them hilarious. Blaine is quite the dancer, and they're really, really funny. Blaine actually has a background in acting, as well as he went to Mars Hill Seminary, and so he's got a lot of different things that play into his creativity. But this video is called Be Here Now, and like I said before, it's from the Leadership Summit. And it's an amazing video that shows how you can combine all sorts of different media, from live people to projection and soundtracks and all these different elements to create some really spectacular things that draw out some amazing emotion out of you. So check out Be Here Now. Well, we got some great freebies for you, and these freebies have actually been on the website for a little while, and I wanted to share them with you guys on the podcast here, because if you guys aren't checking out all the freebies that you can find all the time on the website, you need to be doing that. There's new content on the website all the time, so make sure to check out cmd.tv/freebies or cmd.tv/inspiration for all sorts of different inspiration and freebies that I'm posting all week long. Even in this dry spell of the show, I've been posting freebies and inspiration. Well, the freebies for this episode are actually some social networking packages. I know a lot of times we're promoting our Facebook fan pages or our Twitter page, and we need to have slides or we need to have graphics to do that. And so I actually brought all those together in one place that you don't have to go looking everywhere for them. So there is editable Photoshop documents, as well as vector files of the Facebook logo and the like button, the like thumb, and so you can find all that stuff for Facebook, as well as Twitter just updated their look with new Twitter. So I have the new Twitter logo and bird and the old Twitter logo and bird, just in case you like one versus the other. But these all have editable Photoshop documents, as well as stills and all sorts of different stuff, and widescreen and full screen. I tried to give you everything you would possibly need to promote these different accounts so that you can help stay in touch with people, because that's the only reason I would promote these things, is so that we can keep in touch with the people that are a part of our church and our community. So check out cmd.tv/Facebook freebies for the Facebook ones, and cmd.tv/Twitter freebies for those Twitter freebies, and you can check out all of that stuff over at cmd.tv. So check it out today. Well, thanks for tuning in to another edition of Church Media Design TV. Hopefully we'll have a bunch of new content coming for you every week. I'm excited for next week as we talk more about creative workflow, working inside the Creative Suite. Again, there's tons of new content on the website all the time, so make sure you check that out. You can find out the show notes and links for everything in this episode at cmd.tv/114. So you can find all that stuff there. And if you have questions for me, you can send me an email, brad@ChurchMediaDesign.tv. Find me at twitter.com/cmdtv, facebook.com/cmdtv, or my personal ones, facebook.com/bradley.zimmerman. So there's tons of ways to get in touch with me, as well as find out way more resources and articles and cool information on the website. So I want to encourage you guys to check all of that stuff out. I'm excited to be back, and hopefully the fall's into swing and we got all that stuff going. So we'll have some great content coming for you here in the future. So as for me and my favorite bobbleheaded friends, we're saying, see you later.